have you ever had that point where you're like, this is just, it's out of control. Like it's just taking over my family, it's taking over my livelihood. So where you're ready to walk away?
The whole last season.
Just the beginning or just got progressively worse?
From the beginning of last fall through the end of this.
These stories are the ones that bother me. It just goes to show it's not about the kids. Again.
Anymore. And that's the hardest. We've got 100+ kids relying on me and their parents.
It's a lot of pressure.
I don't want the club to suffer any further than we already have. And they didn't even know the behind the scenes at that point. I was just trying to protect the girls on my team because I don't know what's going on at home. You know, all these children who are doing detrimental things to themselves because they're being bullied. They just want to play a game, a game that they enjoy. But the more that these things happen, the less they enjoy it.
Welcome in, everybody. This week's episode on Fighting for Overtime. I am Coach Tony, and tonight I've been looking forward to this episode all week. Just so give everybody a little backstory about why we're here. So give a big shout out to my boy Jeff, big friend of mine, my mom PJ, follower forever, gave me a little insight on something that kind of resonated with me. I grew up in Southampton. I coached in Southampton. I held positions in Southampton. My daughter played softball for years. So when I hear there's some issues going on, I was like, you know what? I gotta find out what's going on, right? So then I was introduced to you, and we'll get to your story in a minute. But I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a mom. You are a coach, a board member, a very highly esteemed board member. And I want to say this because I always love people that are very passionate. And when I went to that meeting, that we'll get into, you opened up and you were legitimately in tears. Right? I get it. And I've been there and I was like, wow, like I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, something deep's happening. So we're going to get into that. But again, this is Fighting for Overtime. Make sure you're following all social platforms. But Chrissy, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, this takes a lot of guts sometimes to come on these things, right? I mean, you've been doing this for how long? How long have you been, just say your coaching element, how long have you been coaching for?
Started coaching soccer probably in 2017, 2018. And ironically enough, I was looking for, because watching my girls play softball, because they've been playing since they were 4 or 5 years old. Ironically enough, I was looking for an adult league to play in myself.
Oh, wow.
When the coach at the time, Jamie Burkhart, called me and said, I have a favor.
The favor. It's always the favor.
Would you consider coaching this fall? And this was in 2019. So, oh, Jamie, I got to think about it. Because working full time. And the day he called me, I happened to be on call. So I wasn't even home for the weekend. I was in a hotel up in North Jersey or Central Jersey. So I wasn't even home. I'm like, call, I'm not home. How am I got to think about it. So of course I called him the next day. I'm like, all right, I'm in.
It didn't take long, did it?
It didn't take much to twist my arm, no.
Man, that's what we do. I think it really takes a specific person to be built to be able to coach.
Oh, I was scared as hell. I had no idea what I was doing. To this day, I'm like, all right, the first practice it's going to be the toughest. So I just try to make it as fun as possible. And that first season was like, all right, I just want to make it as fun as possible. I want these girls laughing and somehow in there throwing in lessons that they don't realize they're learning.
Exactly. You said, let me touch on something because we're going to do this consistently. You said fun. And one of the biggest reasons I have a lot of people on here when I ask the question, how has youth sports evolved to where it's no longer fun? Because I do feel like, especially softball, and this is what we're going to get into. But I remember when I was coming up, I never wanted to be the elite program, but I wanted my daughter to be competitive. Mm-hmm. But it was like, was there something that could give us that mix? And back then it was, I think it's something different now, but it was the Sunday Select League. And right. And it was run in Morrisville. I got named George Riccardi, I think his name was, did a fantastic job. And we played on Friday nights and Sundays. Yeah. And it was like the perfect, because it wasn't these high level travel teams,
exactly,
but it was competitive, but they could still play in-house with their friends.
Exactly. And it's like almost an all-star team, if you will.
Yep.
Well, at least that's what.
But you're not carded.
No,
you're not none of that.
Like
You're
nothing like that. You're not vetted. You're not paying thousands of dollars. You're not traveling across the country to play in tournaments. It's just girls that try out, who want maybe a little more competition than in-house. And, they play in local suburban tournaments or it's almost like a scrimmage, if you will.
Yeah.
Because there's no trophies at the end of the
No,
weekend.
there's no trophies.
It's just a high five. Hey, great game. And off you go.
Yep.
So
it's almost like a bunch of friendlies, but it's just like, it's very coordinated.
Exactly.
Which I loved. And I remember, and I know this will be a topic we get later, but I coached in Southampton with me and Rich Clark for years.
Okay.
If you know Rich, and great guy, one of a family friend of mine. And he was actually the first person to take me in. So when we moved up here in 2010, I still can't believe they do a draft at like 8, 9 years old. It's ridiculous to me. I still ain't get me started on that tangent.
It was in, and I have them right here.
Oh, look.
They're in our bylaws.
Bylaws. You have to do a draft.
I have the original 2019 Constitution. They called it the Constitution.
Okay.
And it's in there that if there's more than enough girls for more than one team, there's to be a draft. So my first season, that fall of 2019, we had to do a draft. And I'm like, I picked names I knew. Like I don't know their level of play because I when I went to games, if I've got to watch some of the game, it was usually when my girls were up to bat. Otherwise, I was chasing the 2 younger ones and keeping them out of trouble.
Exactly.
So, I wasn't up privy to the talent of.
Well,
so I just
it wasn't your thing either. You're not scouting 8, 9 year olds. Like
no, but it's funny because when some of them were doing just.
It's crazy.
And in fact, we had that draft, and when I got home, my oldest came running down. She's like, "So who's on my team?" I'm like, "I had to trade you." And I was so deadpan. She started crying. I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. It was a joke."
Think about
that. I'm trying to tease you. She's like, "You didn't draft."
Oh my God. I could not believe it. I was dumbfounded. And he was like, "Look, they saw this girl's name that nobody knew." She was and Rich was like, "I'll take her." It was my daughter.
Oh, how about that?
And it was like a match made in heaven. And he offered me a spot to coach, and then rest is history, right? So we'll get into that because I think it's a lot of the same experiences that you're unfortunately dealing with right now with pitchers. We always had 2 pitchers on the team that were extremely good.
Yeah.
They weren't travel pitchers. They were just really good pitchers. And everybody would complain. They're travel, but no, they're not. They're not. Where's their call? Like, we'll get into that. So I felt a lot of the stuff that I was hearing in that meeting. Trust me. So let me just your experiences. Number one, because this does all impact mental health in a way. I don't think people understand what parents go through. Coaches, but parents, like you're especially a parent of girls. I say all the time, being a girl dad's completely different. Coaching girls completely different. But your experiences coming up, like good and bad, about just how it's kind of changed from when your kids were younger to where they're at now.
When they were younger, they were just so eager. They couldn't wait to get to practice. They couldn't wait to get to a game. They couldn't wait to put the gear on. And they're this tall, and the catcher's gear is that tall. They're drowning at it. It's so stinking cute. And as they get older, you get to about the 12U, and you start to see some of the drama because of the cliques in school.
Yep.
And then 14U, you can see a little bit of that as well on the field. And some are over here and some are over there. And some are talking about another team or boys. Or
don't get me started with that.
Please be where your feet are because you're daydreaming or watching another team or whatever the case may be. But when you get to 18U, I think some of that reverses. You still have your cliques. You still have your friends from school that are on the team with you. But I think there's a little bit more camaraderie. I could be wrong.
Maybe because at the end.
It's especially this year, our oldest aged out, and we started a new, what I hope will be a new tradition. And it was my husband pitched to my daughter for her last.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And I asked, we happened to have a game that night. So it was the last game
for
the 18U team. And my 14U team was playing our other in-house 14U team. So I asked if they would stay that night and help us out.
Okay.
So I went running over right before the end of the game. And the parents of the girls that were aging out were aware of what was going on because I had asked them, I said, here's what I want to do.
Okay.
Would you want to participate? And they were all, let's do it. So last at bat, it was the mom or the dad that came up through the last pitch, and I had the 14 girls, just like a tenant, where I had them line up down the third base line
Okay.
with their bats up,
Yep.
kind of like the Marines.
Yep.
And they won their last trip down from third to home plate.
Okay.
They went under.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then one of the moms had sunflower seeds. They're throwing.
I was throwing them up like
yeah,
confetti, right?
As they were
That's
coming,
awesome.
Yeah, as they were crossing the plate.
That's awesome. And they'll remember that forever.
And I can only hope that we can make that a tradition. But yeah, that's so you saw a little bit of that, and some now are like, I want that to be next year.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge.
Oh, some of the girls from the other team. Yes, we did. We invited one of the girls from the other team who was also aging out, and it happened to be the last game, but it was an away game. So I reached out to the coach and I asked, do you have any girls who, it's their last game? Because I would like to honor them too.
Okay.
So she went first.
Wow, that's awesome. I like that. See, that's what it should be. It's like these traditions that I think we've lost over the years because everybody wants to be about a medal or a trophy or what do we win, right? Like I've always said, if anybody listens to this podcast, I say memories and moments. Like it's not about wins. It's about memories and moments. Mm-hmm. What do you remember? Like that's my big, like all the memories, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like I remember we had a tournament. It wasn't Pony. It was the championship in Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay.
And we were out there one year, and it like today poured hellacious rain everywhere. And those fields just completely got flooded, but they have to play the game.
Oh, yeah.
We had like a 3-hour delay. We're getting the fields ready.
It
was unbelievable. It was, but the memory about it was we had 8 teams. They were all 16U. I think it was 14U girls. Okay. All 8 from all over. They got together. They did line dancing. They had somebody brought a speaker out. And they were all having a good time. Yeah. They didn't know each other. And I was like, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
And I think we lose sight of that now. And I get it. Listen, there's going to be players that go pro. There's going to be players that train hard. There's nothing wrong with that. Like everybody has their lane. I get that, right? But I think we're forgetting about what these sports actually were resonated upon. And I think that's one of my biggest gripes about everything. So over the years, just as a parent, as a coach, have you ever had moments where, whether it be your own kids you've coached, like, wow, they're really going down a rabbit hole a little bit. I need to really step in and make sure that they start getting back on track.
But that's not the stuff that like you were just saying, maybe they were getting involved in the wrong crowd, or you hear rumors about something that's happening in the bathrooms at school.
Yep.
I try to keep a lookout for changes in behavior or attitude, or just them not being there in the moment. And then I try to get them a little involved more so that, to kind of bring them out of that.
Well, yeah, use it as an outlet, right?
There's only so much you can do. I'm not the parent, but I have to report things that you see because as a coach field, teachers have to do the same thing. You see things that we're reportable. Yep. So, you just keep an eye out for.
A lot of it, I think, comes with the territory, unfortunately. And I think that's where, a lot of the stuff that you're dealing with now, or you are dealing with, just so everybody knows, can I say what your position is?
Sure.
So you are the president of Upper Southampton Softball.
Right.
And like I said, I went to the meeting. There's a lot of stuff going on. You could talk about what you want to talk about, whatever, it is. But before we get into it, your mental capacity as being the president of what you deal with, how has that changed? When you have you been able to not take it home? It's like when you do these volunteer positions because you love it, right? Let's face it, you love it. I did the same thing. You love it because I always say I have all my kids, because it's not just about your own, it's about all the kids in the program that you coach and that you bring up. Have you ever had that point where you're like, this is just, it's out of control. Like it's just taking over my family, it's taking over my livelihood, to where you're ready to walk away?
The whole last season.
And from just the beginning, or just got progressively worse?
From the beginning of last fall.
Okay.
Through the end of this past.
So I know, as you being president, you've dealt with a lot of issues, and we'd probably be here for a year if we talked about all of them. And unfortunately, the reason why I not only for you to tell your story, but I really related to a lot of this stuff because when I went to that meeting, and which, my God, before you guys even got to your actual topics at hand, was like an hour and a half just on that, right?
Yeah.
And that was the first meeting that you look around and you're like, wow, all of a sudden now, because you sent an email out earlier today because you said you were stepping down, right?
I did. I sent an email. I should have spoken with the rest of the board, but it was a spur of the moment. It was something I typed up, and then I thought, you know what? I just have to do it. There was an ultimatum given, and I thought it would be best just lay on the sword and
be the bigger person. Unfortunately.
Fortunately and unfortunately. I didn't want the girls, the 100+ girls. There used to be a lot more, but we've lost a lot with COVID. The 100+ girls that play for Upper South, who rely upon me and the board and the coaches. I didn't want them to have to suffer and find another league to play in. Because believe me, since the first email that I received about being tossed from the league that we designed and built, I looked for other leagues, and there aren't any around.
They're not there.
So there are, but they're Jersey or Philly.
A lot of traveling.
And that's not what an in-house
club
is about. That's a travel team. You want to travel far, and go ahead. That's a travel team. But for an in-house team, I just thought that was too far. So I thought, you know what? It's not what I set out to do when I started writing that email. But I changed it from here's what we may have to do to here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step down as president because I'm being told that I have to. Or we as a league, we as a club are being tossed out from our league, from the ISA. And I thought, you know what? I'll find another club to play for because I was then told I can coach, and I want to coach. Right. So I thought, all right, I'll find another club to play for. And at the bottom of that email, I just sent, we'll be having our next board meeting will be happens to be like 2-3 days later. If you have any questions, please come out. And about 40 people showed up, and it was overwhelming.
Right.
Honestly, I walked around the corner from where I parked. I'm like, what's happening?
Not used to that.
No, I'm used to just
the board,
and maybe one or two other people
all the time. Yep.
And so it was, you're right. We spent about an hour and a half talking about.
I was blown away. I say that because, I was given a little heads up on what some of the issues were. And when I got there and I saw you with Kleenex in your hands and I saw you, and it was like pretty devastating. I was like, it's not supposed to be like this. This is supposed to be, we're doing this for the good of the club.
It's supposed to be about the kids.
Yes.
It's supposed to be about
and here you are, like basically you're on trial, it felt like, and you're having to defend yourself, which I thought was ridiculous. And let's be honest, and I know you don't have to answer this, but I look around, I've been to these meetings. I look around at 40 people that are all gung-ho, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when we're ready to do it, they are gone. They're nowhere to be found. Well, it's summer. I need a break. I can't do it because of work. I heard all the excuses, right? So I commend you, number one, just for being honest about it, because that took a lot of guts.
Well,
man.
one of them they rely upon us and they come back year after year for a reason, right? Whether it's the fields, the coaches, or just the location. I wanted to be frank. Here's why I said what I said. Here's why I wrote that email. Because I don't want the club to suffer any further than we already have. And they didn't even know the behind the scenes at that point. Nobody knew.
I saw that. Yeah. They were like, what happened?
They had no idea what I have been enduring for months.
And speaking of so let me ask you, and again, you don't have to go into any detail. No big deal. So I want to make sure I understand. So this is a league that has 4 teams in it, correct?
No, there's multiple teams. It started with just 4. That's how it began back 2019. Maybe it was Northampton, Upper South, Lower South, and Warminster. Warminster folded. Warminster's twice the size of Southampton.
The problem with Warminster down on fields.
They used to. I played for Warminster when I first moved up here from Philly, but
because I coached and we could never get a field. All we had was Werner, and because I had lights.
Okay.
And Pioneer Football took that over once So we had so we were actually going to Posse
Okay.
to play because we didn't have a field with lights.
Gotcha. There's fields back on Monroe, and then they've since built fields across the street, but they don't have girls playing. Most of the girls that come over that play, they play for us. Now, I considered going to one of their rec meetings and asking, hey, can we start promoting and drawing more girls? But there are more and more sports, especially in the spring, that are taken away from the original now. Frisbee, lacrosse is in the spring.
Pickleball be coming.
That's next. Yeah.
Yep.
Who's to say there won't be cornhole too?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And even as a bocce team.
Wow.
So there are more and more sports that are taking girls, boys too,
Okay.
away from the traditional American game.
Okay.
So from what I understand, each club is losing girls each year.
I can see
because
that.
of those other sports. But yes, so getting back, I digress. The original 4 were Northampton, Upper South, Lower South, and Warminster.
So basically you 4 were running the league, or at least were the voice of the league.
Got together and wrote all the bylaws, the Constitution,
Which is the
Constitution.
listen?
This is the original, unamended ISA Constitution. That declares that this is a league or a place for girls to come to make friends, to have fun, to build on skills, to learn the skills, not a travel league. It's right there. And then it talks about select. Select is the all-star girls, but they still play in-house.
Exactly.
So
that was actually a requirement back. Is it still a requirement that so ours was you had to play in-house in order to play select?
So a number of years ago, there was a travel team that started with Upper South. And those, again, board, I was not on the board at that time, but I remember some of the conversations that took place. It was, we can't not have these girls play because then we lose numbers. So they had said, the travel girls still need to play in-house. Well, that meant that they were playing in-house, travel, and for school. So they said it was too much.
It was a lot.
And I agree. It
was a lot.
It's too much to try and believe me, you should see my calendar every spring with who's where every night.
Yep.
And so the aspect of them having to play in-house went away. Then this past fall, we thought it was brought to my attention, hey, can we start a select team? Sure. I don't have a problem with that. So many girls came out that I said, well, why cut any of them? All of them made the commitment to come out, to try out, just start 2 teams. So that's what they did. And they played a couple of friendlies, and here we are.
Here we are. And then how it's mind-boggling to me, because from what I was told before I went to the meeting, what that meeting was about is you're legitimately being kicked out of the league that you originally helped form.
Correct.
I've been around, and I remember specific people who, I won't say it kind of is a bully sort of in nature, but people they were very power hungry. It was like all of a sudden now, and I used to be like, Tech, I'm like, dude, you're what kind of power do you have? Like, what do you think you are? Right. And I feel like, and I don't know any of these people, full transparency, but it just feels like it's a bunch of power driven people or person that just wants to be like, it's my way or that's it.
Yeah, I think you've hit it on the yeah.
What are the issues that they are trying to say on why you would get kicked out?
Without reading all the emails that I've received, essentially for questioning the interpretation of the travel rule.
But with the pitching or just
correct?
Okay,
correct.
Why is it always centered around that?
I know it's this travel players are welcome in the ISA if they want to play with their friends, but they're not permitted to pitch, which is great because at that level you shouldn't be pitching in-house. You should be allowing the other girls who want to get to that level pitching. We didn't have any travel players. We had 2 select teams,
which is not travel.
Not travel.
I know that.
Vetted, no cards, not on the U-Trip website, and that's right here in the bylaws. Travel rule players. Travel player rules. A travel player is considered anyone who is listed on the USSA, also known as U-Trip website, for the current year. You won't find one of the Upper Southampton girls on that website.
The people that they're saying are travel pitchers.
Yes, they were all blacklisted as travel players. So trying to find a pitcher was just almost impossible. We had to throw girls in and say, sorry, I know it's not your comfort zone, but can you please just try? And so, Yeah. So long story short, we have since found that there are travel players pitching in-house and for other clubs.
Of course.
Because we found them on Game Changer.
What is Game Changer?
So Game Changer
like an app?
is an app through, I think it's through Dick's. And we don't use it. Personally, don't use it. Nobody in the Upper South uses it. We came across, I guess it was a year or two ago, and we started to come across what they essentially do is they'll rig their cell phone to the back of the batting cage, or back of the dugout, or the
backstop,
and record the whole game. This year, I saw camera going up, but I did not give my parents the option to waver out of that because there are a lot of people who don't want their children on social media. So I approached a coach the very first game. I said, "Look, I can't have you record this." Well, he got
very mad, but we'll put it mildly.
Yes. I said, "Fine. If that's the case, I don't want to see any of my girls on any social media platform." I wasn't even home yet, and they were already posting. And my phone's blowing up from parents saying
that are mad.
I understand the concept of Game Changer. It started out maybe about coaching and reviewing the game. I don't know. They're not professionals. Why are you doing that? I don't know. But what they always decide or the falter excuse is, well, grandma can't watch because she can't make it here. So we're recording it for her to watch. Well, can you prove that to me?
Right. If that's the case, just record clips of your kid.
Exactly. So what they did was they took clips of the pitcher striking out a girl from school and posting it all over Snap.
So they were utilizing that app for leverage to do other things. It wasn't about showing grandma what was going on.
Now maybe the parents were, but the kids on the team were using it disparaging. And that was the problem I had. And I brought it to their attention once. And then I was told that I was fighting about it all season. I was just trying to protect the girls on my team because I don't know what's going on at home. I don't know if there's a custody battle taking place.
There's a lot of that. That's a big deal.
I always joke saying, well, what if I was on the witness protection program?
No, it's true.
But there are so many legitimate reasons why. I don't want my children posted on Snap or Facebook or anything else that's out there because there's just too many websites that will take these pictures and abuse them.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you see all these children who are doing detrimental things to themselves because they're being bullied.
Yes.
They're being bullied.
That's a huge point.
Cyberbullying is such a problem. And, ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I don't want to see that. There's too much going on in this world for kids to worry about. They don't need to worry about that. They shouldn't have to.
They just want to go out and play softball. They want to play with their friends, man.
They want to show up on Saturday morning or Friday night or whatever day we're playing, and they just want to play a game that they enjoy. But the more that these things happen, the less they enjoy it. Yep. And I tried to keep all of this aside, and I tried to keep all the kids. Anytime there was a conversation, they were on the bench or they were on the outfield or they were huddled up talking about the game or whatever the case may be. I tried to keep them away from it. Even at home or in the car on the ride home, I wouldn't tell my own girls what the conversations were about because it's, they don't need to know.
But how did it impact? How did you keep a level head without impacting you? Because that happens. It's just indirectly. You're a human being. It's got to weigh on you.
I don't sleep a lot.
Yeah.
And when I do, I wake up in the morning, I'm already stressed thinking about the problem at hand because now I got to find a new league for my girls to play in.
Once this started to happen, I heard when I was at the meeting, they were talking about lots of emails going back and forth, messages. I mean, when did it finally just get to a point like we're telling these people you need to just back off?
I stopped answering the email. We had an ISA rep, and I forwarded everything to him to try and smooth things over. And they met face to face. They had several phone calls, and from day one, this individual already knew he was throwing us out of the league. So there was no change in his mind.
It was already preconceived.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So, and I had that in the back of my head. And like I said, I did look around and there's just nothing. So the last meeting, I reached out and I asked the parents, I said, I need your input. So we had a meeting and I said, here's the situation. What do you want to do? I said, I have some ideas, but I want you to be involved. This is your girls' club. This is your girls' teams that we're talking about. I don't want to see this club go under. It started 40 years. It'll be 40 years in 2 years. 20. It was 1987 it was started. So it's almost 40 years. I don't want to see it fold. I don't want to see it fold under me. I don't want to see it fold at all. Give me your thoughts. Should we try and fight this? Should we start our own? Should we try and join another club, merge with another club, and they can use our fields because we're one of the only ones that have lights.
Yes. Oh, that was always the advantage.
You know,
always.
You hold a lot of weight when you can. That's hard to carry.
Because Northampton didn't have lights because they would always use Welsh. Because I coached at Northampton until they start being able. They built a couple fields, I think, at the actual rec center off in Newtown, Richmond Road.
You're right.
But before that, it was all Welsh.
Mm-hmm.
So
started early.
We had nothing, no lights. So yeah, that's a huge. So you're probably not going to be able to put a time figure on this. But if I had to ask you, how many hours a week has this, along with all the other the stuff that you're doing as part of take out of your time, like a full-time job?
Almost, yeah. In regular season, I spend at least an hour the night before a game getting my lineup ready, getting who's playing where, because I never put the same girls in the same position because I want them. The only position I don't ask them to play is pitch. And then there's always one or two that always want to catch, which is fine. I still take them out of that position every once in a while because I want them. Basically, I tell every kid, I said, here's what I want you to say when you get to high school. When the coach says to you, where do you play? Your answer is going to be wherever you need me to be able to say that. I want you to be able
give yourself options.
Know how to play all these positions.
Yep.
So we work on coach, I can't throw from third. Well, guess what? You're playing third. Build up the strength to make that throw. So, it's little things like that. Same with, center field. I always play a short center fielder because at this level, second and short always want to run. They're banging into each other. They're closing. They're getting in the way, So it's just
think about it. Here's a great part about what you just said, just indirectly, where you talked about the girl third base. Mm-hmm. That's why this isn't a travel league. Exactly. Because you wouldn't be doing that in a travel league.
Exactly.
See, this is my point. Like that's what's so great about it. And man, I don't know. These things bother the hell out of me.
I love these kids. They're so fun. They show up, but there are more often than not bad news bears out there. And we're laughing. And I'm like, brush it off. Let's go. I remember you're winning, and you learn from that. A loss isn't a loss. It's an opportunity to learn. Okay. Yes. We missed a couple pop-ups. Guess what we're practicing? That's the league we're in. It's a learning league. They're just learning the basics from 6U up. And if they want to take those skills to high school, then that, I'm happy to help. And I'm glad that they were able to get to that level. But that's all we are. No big trophy and rings.
Right. No Eagles rings here, right?
And, even if there were, I remember playing, whether it was soccer or softball, and we won things. I don't know where those trophies are.
That's what I said all the time. Everybody was always, where's my medal? I'm like, for what? Like at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's what you said. And again, I keep saying, I commend you because not everybody wants to take this amount of time. Not everybody wants to put this kind of commitment and sacrifice into it. And that's why it's so important for people to realize and listen. I can hear that tone of your voice. You live it, you feel it, you love it, right? You're passionate. That's not something that everybody has. And when you have it, people should be lucky to have it. And now we're sitting here and now you have to find out where you're going to be able to put these kids to play.
And that's the hardest. We've got 100+ kids relying on me and their parents.
It's a lot of pressure.
So, I'm sure we'll lose some this season because
we have fall ball first, right?
Correct.
Now do you still have a fall ball league? Like because I remember
15 teams.
Okay. Oh, so you can't. So you're out. So is it? So let me ask: is this definitive? Like it's like
I don't know.
Oh.
So from what I've spoken to Northampton, they did not vote us out. But
how much do you keep fighting?
What I asked the parents that came out, I said,
like, what do you want me to do?
What I have some ideas of how we can move forward, but I want to hear let's start thinking outside the box. What are your thoughts? And most of them just said, we just want our girls. And I'm like, so we're going to start from the ground up, or we're going to focus all fall on fundamentals. I'm going to talk to Quickball about the girls that play there and bring them over. And, let's start from the ground up with the younger girls. I'm going to try and get games for the older girls. And between now and spring, I'm hoping that we can put something together and maybe start our own league. I don't know if it's going to happen. I can only hope that it happens.
Now, do you think you'll have the support that you need to be able to do that?
So far,
that's good. And I hope that it continues.
So far,
right.
Yeah, the coaches they've been supportive and they want to continue and they want to help. So,
well, they have kids to play too, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I maybe they look at that picture and say, well, if I don't do this, where are they going to play? These stories are the ones that bother me because it's just, it just goes to show it's not about the kids. Again, this is not about the kids. It's whether it be a personal vendetta, whether it be a power trip, now even, you get higher. It's all about whenever you hear ROI, return on investment. That's not what youth sports is. What's the return on investment is what your memories and your commitment that you put into it. Your return on investment is your kids smiling, the memories that all the moments that you give. But that's but when you start talking about dollars, we're already out. You already see where this is headed.
The return on investment is, the kid who couldn't throw from third by the end of the season can.
You seeing that they get happy because they're like, oh my God, I did it.
Yeah.
I know that's what
the number one rule in anything when it comes to in-house, in sports, it should be in general, especially in-house. And it's, it's like right here. Number one, it's about the kids.
Yes.
And creating a safe, fun place for them to learn.
Yep. And unfortunately, that's not the case anymore.
And it's not just in softball.
No, we're here so everybody knows because this issue is specific, but no, it is with every sport right now. Every sport, some sports a little more than others, but this one hit home to me because this was my sport, and that I've always said, even though I coached soccer for years, my two boys played soccer for years. This is my first year not coaching. It's been great, by the way. But I've always said, I've even talked to my buddy. I was like, when my kids are completely grown, I legitimately, this is talk about commit suicide. I must be nuts, but I want to go back and I want to start a softball team, but I want to go somewhere that nobody knows me. I want not one parent to know me, not one kid to know me. I want to bring, and I just want to coach my own way and try to keep them from 8 all the way to 17. And see, because I do commend my soccer team. I started at 8. I had about an 85 to 90% retainment all the way up to 17.
Oh wow!
Right. And that's with merging teams, and because it was great. Yeah. And I think you can still do it. And it's like a challenge for me. I one day I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But what's that?
You gotta have a goal.
You have to, right? You have to. So let me say this in closing, just in general, going through all of this, what could you say if somebody out there is like, hey man, I think I'm going to take this board position, or I think honestly, because I say this all the time, I'm not saying that we need to tell them not to do it, but I want your real honest, what it's like, your experience. What would you say to that person? Don't sugarcoat anything. If they come to you, Chrissy, this is what I'm thinking. What could you tell them?
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
It shouldn't be. There are months where it's sailing and it's easy because you're just doing the prep. Like this month, it's been, besides trying to find a new league and the permits and the paperwork that needs to be done, insurance, things of that nature.
Yep.
We have a treasurer, so they balance the budget. We have a secretary who,
but still, you have to oversee all that.
I have to oversee all that. I have to approve all that. We have to vote on that because we do have a board. We have our board. We have our executives. It's the Robert's rules that we follow, and we every month there is a meeting. It's usually an hour and a half long, and we just discuss what's come in, what correspondence we approve the last month's meeting minutes and treasurer's report and things of that nature. So there is about an hour and a half every month that you have to commit to a meeting. Then there's the calls and the emails that you might get from parents, from other clubs. Then there's the scheduling. If you have to reschedule. Now, as a president, obviously I'm not rescheduling, but as a coach, scheduling rainouts and things of that nature. So it's like a part-time job.
It's a part-time job, but you love it. I always say, if you weren't doing that, it feels empty.
When I stepped down because I didn't want the kids to suffer.
Right.
I was nominated again as treasurer and president. So I thought, you know what? I'll take treasurer, because that way nobody has to know I'm on the board.
Right.
Nobody. It shouldn't matter who's on our board.
I was
anyway.
just going to say that. Why?
Our board is our board.
Right.
You know, and nobody else should have a say as to
No.
who's on our board and let who can coach, because coaches are volunteers, and we all know how hard it is to find volunteers.
Yes.
So I thought, well, I'll take treasurer, and that way I can help whoever the new president is kind of make that transition.
Yep.
So I can show them and tell them, and here's my notes, things of that nature. Too many people said, you need to be the president. But I stepped down for a reason. I don't want the girls to suffer. But, they reminded me that nobody should have a say as to who runs our club.
Yep.
It's our club. And we're not breaking rules. We're not doing anything wrong. We have girls that just want to play softball. And that's what I'm trying to make happen.
I love it. And that's being taken away. It's being taken away. It's a shame. It's a shame. But Chrissy, listen, this was fantastic. I know this wasn't easy.
No, you almost. I'm not an emotional person, but I
could
starting a little.
Yeah, but it's because you're reliving it again, right? It's like, and again, it's an emotional roller coaster.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I, again, going forward, the stories that I cannot wait to tell, and will piss more people off. But it's okay. It's okay. Because right now, the reason why I don't have any skin in the game right. There's nobody I have to worry about. There's nobody like. My kids aren't going to be affected. Like, no. And a couple of people said to me, are you worried when you talk about this stuff? I said, for what? They're like, well, if somebody says anything, why? It's real. It happened. I'm not making it up. I'm not making up the cops at my house. I'm not making it up. Like, I can't wait to tell that story. Oh. Okay. But for zero reason, listen, man, Upper Southbows are paying our cops a lot of money because they showed up at my house on a Sunday night during WrestleMania. Very, very interesting. Our taxes must have just went up that night, but we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, listen, yeah, trust me, people want to hear that kind of stuff. But no, I from a coach to a coach, I get it. From a parent to a parent, I get it. And I just appreciate you telling your story. And I'm rooting for you. We're all rooting for you.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Again, everybody, this is Fighting for Overtime, and we are out. Fighting for Overtime is a Rise and React media production. If you're looking to start a podcast, if you're looking to get some direction, hit us up, let us know. We'll help you out there as well. Again, for everybody, enjoy your time, memories and moments, and keep fighting that fight. Continue to fight in overtime to make your kid have the best experience that they can have when it comes to playing youth sports.